for those that are new that haven't seen this, I hope will be helpful to kind of understand the thought of what an assessment can do for you in your business. And whenever we talk about assessments, it's really nothing more than a landing page. So if you think about collecting data from your individuals, and the landing page may be more than just name, address, type information. It can be some very good assessment of where they're at in their buying process, in their selling process, in whatever niche that maybe you focus in on. You can have multiple assessments, but I would encourage you guys to kind of focus in on one particular piece that would be useful for you, but also useful for your leads or your clients. So basically, the assessment field itself is just an additional field that you add to a landing page. Whenever you add that field to the landing page, you can use it as a questionnaire. It kind of pops up different questions for lead scoring, for finding personal results. There is some additional parts and pieces to it to do lots of different things, but actionable insights is the main thing. So finding out what is it that you can actually do to help those buyers and sellers do things within the system. One thing that we want to do, though, is make sure that you guys get what you want from your customers, and the landing pages can do that. So whenever we go through, ask for the person's information, we're actually diving deeper into what is it that I can provide for them inside of the data. So here, let me just kind of talk through the building of this very quickly, and then I'll show the screen on how to do this as well. There's a few different steps that you can go through, and I'll make these available, this whole presentation piece available to everybody. But what we want to do is find out what is the audience intent. What is it that you want to do with the customer itself, and what kind of information would you want to provide them? Let's take, for instance, a first-time home buyer. What are those questions that would help a first-time home buyer decide that they are ready to buy their first home? Or what is the questions that would help a move-up buyer or somebody that's downsizing be ready and prepared to do that process? And we've got a wizard that will take you through each one of these steps and actually create the assessment using AI, but using the objective that you actually have. Once you've built that, then it's a matter of going through and editing it if there's any kind of additional changes or something that you want to make on it. There's a whole assessment editor after the AI has actually created it, so you can still customize it to the way you want. Building it is not hard, but is it, using AI, is it really what you want? And if there's something that needs to be tweaked or whatever, we give you that ability to edit it. Once you edit it, you can also set up assessment automations. So if they answer a certain question a certain way, you can have it automatically update a date field in there so that your routines can be kicked off. One of the questions might be something like, have you set up a budget? And if they answer no, well, now we know, hey, we need to probably send them some information on budgeting for first-time home buyers or whatever. That additional information gives them the understanding that you are wanting to help them. At the same time, you're now in the know because you've got additional context of information that could be useful for you to either move them forward or pause them. Maybe they're not ready and you need to put them on a different routine based off of the information, and it postpones some of that, but doesn't let them fall through the cracks. I'm constantly talking to people that's like, oh, I need more leads. I need more leads. Typically, leads are not the problem. The leaks are the problem. You've got a leak in your lead management where you forget people, or people fall through those cracks. And if they fall through the cracks, some other agent will take control of that contact, and you won't be able to do the things that you need to do. So once they answer the questions, we have a whole assessment piece. Whenever a lead comes in, whenever you send out an assessment or people fill it out, it will automatically go into the assessments area, where you can either see pending items or do approved items. Whenever they get approved, that's when all the magic kind of starts happening, because we don't actually do anything until it's been approved. It can be automatically approved. Once it is approved, then it's going to be showing up on your dashboard as items of assessments that have been answered, and the different percentages and stuff of each of the different questions. As you expand any of these assessments, you can see each question. You can see what the number of answers were for each of the different questions. And this gives you a better feel for who all is falling into certain categories of questions. In this case, how familiar are you with the real estate market in your desired area? Well, if they are very familiar, that's great. But typically they're not, or they may not, and they want more information. Well, you can provide them with that information. Who do I need to provide that to? Well, whenever you click on an individual item like this, it will then drill down deeper to see, okay, who answered this question this way? And based off of this answer and the information that you've gathered, we can now start these people on different types of routines and stuff to do. So it's all a matter of getting things in motion and then letting the routines that cause that motion to kick off and do the things that they need to do. Once you are seeing their responses and seeing where things are at, you can actually do a lot more for them as leads, as clients, and different types of questions are going to be having different people in there. But it's going to give you a better focused method for communicating with them. I can then go in there and say, okay, based off of this question, I want to be sending out some additional material. Here are the people, based off of it automatically tagging them with something, or and you can configure it different ways within the system, but you can have it automatically tag the contacts, somewhat familiar, whatever. And then based off of those, you can have the routines do the different communication. So I hit you with a lot. I know I know that was a lot. We've got training that is set up step by step through all of this, but I want to make sure that you guys see the importance of what an assessment can do for you, because knowing your customer is one thing, who they are, name, address, phone number is one thing, but knowing what they need, where they're at in that process, can serve you and them so much better based off of these assessments. And if they're willing to give you, they're willing to go through the assessment because they're going to find out information about themselves. So just as a for instance here, I'm going to go into one that I just did. I'm going to go into the approved, and here is an assessment that was just done really quickly. It shows the overall categories. You can set up the questions through AI. It will categorize those questions. Actually, it categorizes it first. It figures out what category should I use, and then it develops the questions around that category. And then as they answer them, it can show you where they're at. If they know what their timeline is, great. You don't need to be worrying about that as much. What's their motivation, or what's their finances? Do they have things in place? And if they don't in one of these categories, then you can focus in on giving them the content and nurturing them to a way to bring them back. So now it's not just sending them random bits of information. You're sending them information that is relevant to their particular needs. So whenever you come into a contacts record, there is an assessments tab. in each of the contacts, each assessment will be listed here. So you could have multiple assessments over time. Maybe they've taken the same assessment multiple times and they get progressively closer to that higher score. Once they reach a certain score, you can have it do something as well. So that becomes that lead score that will allow you to do more things as the score gets higher. You click on that and it shows you each of the different questions and answers, what they answered for that particular question, and then what is the assessment for that answer that they gave. So if it's something like they don't have a budget or something like that, well, then the assessment would come in and say, hey, here's some resources that would help you align your budget, help you decide what to give them as part of the follow-up that you would create for each contact. And each one of them is going to have different information in there.
So the landing page, you can send also that one via text message, right?
Yes. So it is just a URL. So let's just as an instance here, I'm going to go to the landing page area here. Up here at the upper right-hand corner of the approval page, you have this landing pages piece here, and you can see, you can just copy that URL if you want for this particular assessment. You can paste that into a SMS or email, either one. But one thing that we've included is in your templates. I'll just show you this real quick. Whenever you're sending information to a contact, typically you're going to be using a template of some sort, right? Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick template here. Okay, so start your assessment. So what you can do is right here, whenever I go to insert a link, so if I want to insert a link into either an email or an SMS template, I can click on the link icon here, and it allows you to put in a message of some sort and the link itself. We've added this pick a landing page button, so you can click on that and pick from one of the assessments. So in this case, first time home buyer request, and there's a checkbox in here so that if you're sending the email and you already have the contact information of that contact and you wanted to kind of pre-fill some of that information for name, address, phone number, email stuff, you can include the ID in there, and whenever it sends it out, it will try to send it out. A lot of times, depending on how you're using it, you may not have that, so you can leave that unchecked. But whenever I select that and say start assessment here, whatever, it has that link for that assessment in the list based off of its ID, and then I can just click on insert. And then that link can then, whenever they click on it, it's going to take them to the assessment. You can do the exact same thing in the SMS. And the thing about it is it won't have the start assessment here because it's not HTML. It's just plain text. Now, I am working on the ability to add a third option here, which is MMS, where you'll be able to assign an image and send it as an MMS multimedia message instead of just a plain text message. But whenever you insert that URL into your SMS message, then they'll be able to click on that and open it right up. Yes. And all the assessments, the landing pages are responsive. So no matter what size screen that they're on, they should be able to see it well.